Refitting old boats can create some very interesting engineering challenges. Tangaroa still uses the original 1969 chain steering system, but not for much longer.
All right, so that's another big chunk of the chain here that's pulled out of there.
To convert it to a modern hydraulic steering, I needed a part that never actually existed in the first place. So I designed one from scratch on my laptop, then sent the drawings to my friend Chris at Foreman CNC to see if my design could actually become reality.
And stick around till the end, because I asked Chris what's the craziest thing he's ever made.
What I've got here is, you can see the old steering arms, or the steering arms, and the new hydraulic cylinders. Now, with the cylinder sizes that I've gone with, and pretty much any of them around the sizes that I'm looking at, the actual pin eye end is 1 inch or thereabouts. The hole in the ram is only, I think, 7/8 of an inch. So what I've got to do is I've got to figure out a way to adapt that. I've looked at a few things. I've tried to find some taper studs that would come out to the right size. I'm not really having much luck with that, especially in stainless steel. That would be really challenging to find. I've looked at building different arms, which would be an enormous nightmare. So what I think I've settled on is I'm going to see if I can have a custom machined adapter done up for that, where I can take a 7/8 inch stud end. So basically that will bolt through the ram here, or the tiller arm here, and then have that step up to a 1 inch pin, and that'll sit on the ram. Fortunately, it will still be under shear because this ram is not going to flex. There won't be any movement there. So just the fact that pin goes all the way through that ram is going to keep bending moment to a bare minimum, because it's just not going to have room to move. So we'll have basically a 7/8 inch stainless steel shanked bolt or step stud that will be under single shear, which will be more than enough to handle the loads that this system will be seeing. So yeah, that's the plan. Now I've got to go do some CAD drawings and get it over to my friend Chris at Foreman CNC and get those made up. On our steering, I've got the new hydraulic rams that are going on, and the eyes on the rams are bigger than the eyes in the tiller arms. So what I've had to do is design up a part that basically an adapter piece to make the original hole fit the new size for the ram. Fortunately, there's beautiful advancements in technology over the years have given me the ability to draw this all out, computer-aided design. So what you're looking at here is the actual part. This is where it goes into the tiller arm here. So it's a 7/8 inch ID or OD on that one. And then up here is what goes into the ram. And that's actually a 1.006 OD on that. And that fits with roughly around a 2 thou clearance on my hydraulic ram arm, or hydraulic ram eye, I should say. And then we'll have a castellated nut on either side of that with a cross-drilled pin. And as you can see, this shows the entire pin assembly. So what I do with this now is all I have to do is export this as a step file, which they give me the ability to do within AutoCAD here. I'll do that, and then all I've got to do is take that file, send it off to Chris over at Foreman CNC via email, and then he can work his magic on that file to turn that into an actual part. We are here today at Foreman CNC. I have a few parts for the hydraulic steering system that I had to have custom machined up. And we're just going to kind of go in, give you guys a little bit of a show around and tell you exactly what they had to do to make these parts happen. I haven't been in here in a while.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's... Welcome to Foreman CNC. Hi, you two.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. So yeah, this is the steering shaft that we produced on one of our turning centers.
Sexy.
Sorry, what's it for?
That's for the steering. So that basically bolts into our steering arm, and then a hydraulic ram slides on top of that, and that's what moves the steering on the boat. So I use Fusion 360 because you can get a free version of it for personal use. And I am not by any shape of the imagination a CAD drawing person. I'm not an engineer. I'm not trained on any of this. I can monkey my way through it. The beauty with these guys is I can send them a file and Chris can look at it and go, why did you do this? Why would you not have made it this way? This makes more sense. Which, when you don't know the machining operations, the machinists can actually look at the part and make recommendations on how to make it better, which they did.
Yeah, so yeah, just a quick consultation. We tuned her up and then we import the file that Blaine produced into our CAD CAM system, which is a master cam. And from there we can generate what are called the tool paths. That goes through a device called a post processor, which then spits out codes for the FNUC controller, which then talks to the machine. So the machine in front of us is a Doosan multi-axis turning center. This is a twin spindle machine with a single turret that also has live tooling. So it's a lathe. So generally the workpiece is spinning in the chuck over here. That's a collet chuck. And the machine will advance the material, produce the component, which has been programmed to produce, including milling features. So we can put flats, cross holes, other complex features, as well as the constant cross-section turning, and then advance with the sub-spindle to part off and rinse and repeat. It's like a slot machine when it's running. It's just one after the other. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. It takes a lot of time to program and set up, and then usually the machining's pretty quick. In our plant, we have about a 15,000 square foot facility. We have 24 machines, all Haas, Doosan, and Matsuura. And we are focusing mostly on low volume, high precision. So we are constantly programming, setting up, tearing down, making 1, 2, 10, 50, not like thousands of stuff generally. Although we can do that.
I've known these guys for a very long time. They so happen to be involved in the motorsport industry as well. So I've known them for a very long time, and probably 17 years or something.
Yeah, it's
like
going
that.
back a bit.
So,
yeah.
So how many machines did you guys start with? Back in that area?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've got to watch over the years these guys expand out to where they are now. They've got water jet capability now. I don't know if you guys have added more stuff since then.
Yeah, we have the one big 5-axis water jet, 2 big CNC automatic sawing machines. We have our full QC department as well, temperature controlled with automatic coordinate measuring machines so that we can do a full QA program inspection on everything we produce, because we're making parts for aerospace, medical, tons of scientific work. So we have to be able to qualify everything down to microns, or tenths of a thousandth of an inch. And yeah, that's what we do day in and day out here. Well, that is a very interesting story. Was mentored by an crazy gentleman, Gary Mooney, who many would liken to Einstein, honestly. He's got the hair and the whole bit. He was the best. And he took me under his wing, and he knew everything about manufacturing and cutting metal. And then for the computer side, which was a little past his era, I was self-taught. So was big into computers and coding and doing that stuff. So with his guidance and knowledge on manufacturing and cutting metal, teaching me how to read blueprints and tolerancing and all that stuff, and then integrating my computer skills to the CNC side, it just went from there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was 1 machine, 2, 3, 4,
You guys were still working together when you were right over here on McDonald.
Yeah. So we were down the alley in 1 bay, then 2, then 3, then 4. Then we moved here. Now we're in half this complex. Yeah, we did. We purchased the building in 2014, I guess. We just renewed our mortgage, actually. Yeah. Slowly chipping away at that.
Yeah.
26 employees?
Yeah, right now we're at about 26 employees. We only run the plant 1 shift a day. It runs for about 12 hours a day, and mostly 4 days a week. Most of our staff are Monday to Thursday, 410s. And
good way to do it.
Yeah, get a nice 3-day weekend. Yeah.
Keep people happy.
Yeah, and we're busy.
Yeah. And so you guys know as well on parts, when you're doing custom parts like this, getting one made is not super practical because of the time that it takes for them to get all this stuff set up. So the more parts you get, the cheaper it becomes per part.
Yeah. I mean, everything goes into making one, like Blaine said. So as soon as you're making two, it's almost half price because, you've done all the hard work for the first one. And then what these machines really excel at is then just the repetition. So just rinse and repeat.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you've got the skill to draw up the parts, having people like this saves an immense amount of time for building stuff. I mean, there's things you can whittle out and make work. This is precision quality component that we're talking about when you're getting into stuff like this.
And then also because we've specialized the business in low volume, high mix, we are extremely nimble. So I have this place configured to be able to make almost anything on the planet in a matter of days. Often we can do turnaround almost instantly from a concept to program, materials in stock, tools are in stock, machines are ready to go. So we just crank it out.
Yep.
Surprisingly, mostly we do. I mean, we will happily work with anyone, but I'd say 95% of our clients are even within a few square kilometers of here. I actually personally deliver most of the stuff we produce. So
that's the beauty of Victoria. There's
yeah.
so much tech and manufacturing here. It's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not really well advertised or shown. Like, as a resident, you won't really come across us because you don't really need our services. But yeah, there is a lot of high-tech stuff. We do tons of oceanographic work, like lots of stuff for Cliven science. But there's like forestry, mining, all the marine stuff.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a lot of respirators and stuff during COVID as well.
Yeah. During the pandemic, we were building, emergency ventilator program. So yeah, like I say, it's an interesting environment because we work for all industries. So as long as you enjoy the process, it's never boring around here because we get to see all sorts of weird and wonderful things. We have parts in the deepest part of the ocean. We have parts in space. We're not on the moon yet, but hopefully that's coming.
So what is the craziest part that you've ever seen come through here?
Wow, that's a good question. We've made a lot of really interesting stuff. I know there was a really challenging component we made that was actually for oil and gas exploration. It was a downhole tool, and about 3 or 4 machine shops had just given up trying to make this part. And my customer came to me with a bunch of scrap material and broken tools and was like, "Can you make this?" And we said, "Sure, no question asked."
Yeah.
We didn't know how we were going to make it, honestly, but we weren't going to shy away from a challenge.
Nope.
And we nailed it first try. And to this day, he doesn't go anywhere else. Proof's in the pudding. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's why I love these guys.
Thanks so much for watching. Wasn't that cool? It is amazing what Chris can create in his fabrication shop over on Vancouver Island, right near Sydney, British Columbia. We are so lucky to have access to him and to have him and Natalie as friends. Now, we really want to say thank you to all of these people. Without you, we could not make Operation Silent Running happen and make these videos happen. You are truly the lifeblood behind this project that we're doing, and we can't wait to hopefully meet some of you guys in person. Now, if you want to see another really cool video, check out this one where Ken and Wendy's boat are actually going hybrid electric. It's a cool story and you're gonna love Ken and Wendy. And if you want to see Operation Silent Running from the beginning, check out this playlist. See you guys next week.